Ozzy Osbourne dead at 76. Everything we know about the legendary and often controversial Black Sabbath frontman's final moments. Then, are Epstein answers finally on the way? The late billionaire sex offender's literal partner in crime, Ghislaine Maxwell, gets called to Washington. And Florida man is at it again. What one intoxicated resident of the Sunshine State was driving when he was nabbed by cops. Teaser, it was not a car. Those stories and more today, Wednesday, July 23rd. I'm Caitlin Becker, and this is the New York Postcast. One of the few people who truly knows the world of Jeffrey Epstein and could answer a lot of the questions swirling around is Ghislaine Maxwell, and the House Oversight Committee wants her to sing like a canary. The powerful Republican-led committee is looking to subpoena Epstein's sex trafficking pal to see just what she knows about his crimes. Maxwell is currently serving 20 years for her decades-long facilitation of those very crimes. The conspiracy-laden fictitious client list, the reality of Epstein's relationship with certain high-profile people, she knows it all. Whether or not she's going to cough up the goods or plead the fifth, that is a different story. And not everything in Congress is running so smoothly in regards to the Epstein fiasco. I mean, when does anything in Congress run smoothly? But House Democrats attempted to force a vote to get every congressperson on record that would compel the release of the full Epstein files. Here's Speaker of the House Mike Johnson on Tuesday.
And the American people are best served by putting an end to the Democrats' sideshows. And that's what we're doing by not allowing the Rules Committee to continue with that nonsense this week.
He then made an interesting strategic move. Johnson sent the House home early for summer break, beginning the month-long August recess a day ahead of schedule. He went on to say that the extra break would give the White House, quote, space to release the Epstein files on their own. And perhaps that will soon move forward. Under the direction of Attorney General Pam Bondi, who has caught a lot of flack over Epstein Gate, Deputy AG Todd Blanche reached out to Maxwell's legal team in hopes of meeting with her in the coming days to, quote, hear what she has to say. Now over to the world of sports. The United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee is banning transgender women from women's sports. The move brings the organization in line with President Trump's Keeping Men Out of Women's Sports executive order. The USOPC quietly updated its eligibility rules this week, adding one paragraph to its 27-page athlete safety policy. The new language says that the group will work with the International Olympic Committee, Paralympic Committee, and others to, quote, ensure that women have a fair and safe competition environment consistent with Executive Order 14201. It's not really clear yet how the policy is going to be enforced, but a USOPC statement to the New York Times said in part, as a federally chartered organization, we have an obligation to comply with federal expectations. Moving on to the death of Ozzy Osbourne. The Prince of Darkness has died at the age of 76, 5 years after going public with his Parkinson's diagnosis. The heavy metal and reality TV legend had just performed a farewell concert in his home city of Birmingham, England, a few weeks ago. The rocker's health had deteriorated in his final years. Aside from that Parkinson's diagnosis, Osbourne had suffered a quad biking accident in 2003 that had injured his neck so badly it temporarily took away his ability to walk. Now, in eerie timing, earlier this month, Ozzy's daughter, Kelly Osbourne, had to hit out at rumors that her parents had a suicide pact. More than 20 years ago, Ozzy and his wife Sharon shared that they did, in fact, have one, that if either of them were terminally ill, they would seek out assisted suicide. It's something that their son Jack asked his mom about in the 2023 episode of the Family Podcast.
Is that still a plan?
But do you think that we're going to suffer?
Well, maybe.
I would hope.
Isn't life suffer, or aren't we already all suffering?
Yes, we all are, but I don't want it to actually hurt as well.
Now, Kelly shut this down recently, saying that the quote-unquote pact was really just for publicity. Ozzy Osbourne formed the legendary band Black Sabbath back in 1969, and he's credited with the development of the whole heavy metal genre. 10 years later, he was actually fired from his own band over drug use. He then pursued a solo career, releasing 13 albums. Osbourne was both famous and infamous for his antics. During a 1982 concert tour, he did or maybe didn't bite the head off of a live bat. Then he, Sharon, Kelly, and son Jack became the first big celebrity reality TV family in 2002, starring in the unscripted MTV series The Osbournes. Now, in addition to Sharon and their 3 kids, he's also survived by 2 children from a previous marriage. Now to our big story. President Trump accusing President Obama of, quote, treason. Trump called on the Justice Department Tuesday to prosecute former President Barack Obama for allegedly ordering an assessment that Russia had meddled in the 2016 election. Here's some of what he said to reporters.
He's guilty. This was treason. This was every word you can think of. They tried to steal the election. They tried to obfuscate the election. They did things that nobody's ever even imagined, even in other countries.
He went on to cite documents released by Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard, claiming that they show Obama was, as the president put it, quote, the leader of the gang that sought to undermine his 2016 victory when he beat out Hillary Clinton. So what exactly is the president claiming here? I asked the Post's chief Washington correspondent, Stephen Nelson.
President Trump accused former President Obama of treason while discussing the Russiagate controversy, the allegation that President Trump's 2016 campaign colluded with Russia to win and defeat Hillary Clinton. Now, what's new is that last week, the current director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, declassified and released an email indicating that President Obama, who was president at the time, in his final weeks in office, directed the intelligence agencies to write up an assessment on Russia's role in the 2016 campaign. Tulsi Gabbard has told President Trump that additional documents are coming. So what I suspect is that we're going to be seeing additional disclosures attempting to tie President Obama and other prominent Democrats to the allegations against President Trump. President Trump is airing this and accusing the former president of treason as the controversy continues regarding the disclosure of Jeffrey Epstein documents, and he directly chided reporters to not pay attention to what he called nonsense in that case and to focus instead on the allegations of wrongdoing by Obama.
Democrats are pushing back on all of this, citing, among other things, a previous Senate committee led by the current administration's own Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, which found that Russia did meddle in the 2016 election. Meanwhile, Speaker of the House Mike Johnson says that he is open to subpoenaing President Obama or deposing him, though the last time a former president sat in front of Congress to be grilled was 1983. Now, an update to a story we brought you last week. The brutal slaying of American Idol music supervisor Robin Kay and her husband. The Los Angeles County DA says the 22-year-old man accused of committing the crime killed the couple with their own gun, which they say he found after breaking into their home to rob them. Even more unbelievable, authorities say that after shooting both of them in the head, the gunman called police from his own cell phone and used his real name. Now, cops were able to ping that phone, and that's how they tracked the suspect down at his home 15 minutes away from the crime scene after the bodies were discovered. There's also some more information about that alleged gunman's past. He was arrested 3 times in 2023 and 2024 over allegations of battery and threatening family members with a knife. Now, he served 6 months in custody, but those charges, they were ultimately dropped over mental incompetency. Now, his neighbor said that he was an absolute nuisance who was routinely high on drugs, menacing people in the area. Now on to who doesn't love a Florida man story? And it's been a minute since we've had a good one, but boy, do we have a doozy now. You can excuse drivers for rubbernecking on the Suncoast Parkway outside of Tampa recently when they spotted an officer pulling over a man in a lawnmower. Drivers flooded the Florida Highway Patrol with calls of a man driving erratically during morning rush hour, no less. 20 minutes later, a trooper found Christopher Spain sitting atop the mower on the shoulder of the highway. They said it was immediately clear that he was impaired. Pinpoint pupils, flushed skin, dry mouth, and irritation on the inside of his nose. Plus, I should point out he was cruising in a 70-mile-per-hour zone in a lawnmower that goes like 5 miles an hour. Now, Spain was given a field sobriety test, or kind of. They tried 3 times before he just became uncooperative. He was then arrested and charged with driving under the influence. And finally, before we go, Brian Coberger heads back to court today in Idaho to finally be sentenced for the gruesome stabbing deaths of 4 University of Idaho students in 2022. Coberger unexpectedly got a life-saving plea deal earlier this month that shocked everyone, especially the families of Maddie Mogan, Kaylee Gonsalves, Xander Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin, the victims. The former criminology PhD student pleaded guilty to 4 counts of murder and 1 count of burglary, and in exchange, he won't get the death penalty. In a matter of hours, a judge will hand down 4 life sentences to Brian Coberger. But everyone, including the President of the United States who posted about this case on Truth Social, wants to know why he did it. What was the motive? Only Brian Coberger can answer that question, and he will get his chance later today. Except he doesn't have to. Despite even President Trump asking for the judge to force the convicted killer to explain his actions, he can sit back today, take a sentence on the chin, and leave 4 families with no closure. To find out how it all goes down today in Idaho, make sure you head to the New York Post in print and online, and I will be back here tomorrow morning bright and early waiting for you with the news you need to know. So do me a favor, like and subscribe to the New York Postcast, the podcast, and on YouTube. Please, 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 and thank you. I will miss you until then.